What's good, Commanders fans? I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and this is the Commanders Report. So before we get into today's news and rumors coverage, don't miss out because we are going to have some exclusive, in-depth Commanders coverage of training camp here coming up here starting on July 25th. If you want to be an expert on everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold here leading up to the 2023 season, the Commanders Report is the place for you. We try to give you guys daily content on your Commanders here so you always are in the know on what's going on there with the Commanders football team. So go ahead and click that subscribe button for me right now if you want to become an expert on your favorite football team. All right, now let's break down some of these ESPN rankings that Jeremy Fowler has put out over the last couple of days. He started with the defensive line of the top 10 players at each position in the National Football League, and two members of the Commanders made his defensive tackles list. That's right, Daron, Payne, and Jonathan Allen were ranked number 8 and number 10, respectively, on Fowler's top 10 defensive tackles list. And some of the guys above them, DeForest Buckner, Dexter Lawrence, Javon Hargrave, very good players on this list. And personally, I think this is about where these guys should be. But I thought it was very interesting that Daron Payne was ranked above Jonathan Allen here because I think they're very comparable players and they're very, very similar. It's really tough to pick one to rank over the other. So that begs the question. Which player is better, Daron Payne or Jonathan Allen? Now, I know as Commanders fans, we really like both of them, right? We don't want to choose between our kids here, but it's always fun to look at the comparisons here and really get into the nitty-gritty and see which player is truly the better contributor to this defensive line. Last season, Daron Payne really came into his own as a pass rusher specifically with an 11.5 sack performance in 17 games. Jonathan Allen just missed one game, but he had 8 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles, whereas Daron Payne had none. And Jonathan Allen, I thought, before he got injured last season, was definitely performing even better than Daron Payne, and Allen kind of slowed down once he played through his injuries last year. So personally, I would probably rather go with Jonathan Allen over Daron Payne, even though both of these guys are absolutely excellent at what they do. And now that both of these guys are healthy and paid in full coming into the 2023 season, Commanders fans have every right to expect both of these men to have fantastic 2023 campaigns and lead the way for what is going to be a ravenous Commanders pass rush this season. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Who is the better defensive tackle? Is it Daron Payne, type DP? Or if you think it's Jonathan Allen and you agree with me here, type JA down there in the comment section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. Take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. All right, so now speaking of those ESPN top 10 lists, let's shift over to the edge rankings where Montez Sweat didn't even get an honorable mention on Fowler's list. I mean, goodness gracious. I thought Montez Sweat really came into his own last season. You can see Fowler's top 10 list there. And listen, no disrespect to any of the players on this list. Okay, these guys, every single one of these gentlemen deserves to be in that top 10 rankings, in my opinion. And I'm not necessarily saying that Sweat needed to be in the top 10, but you look at the honorable mentions here that Fowler gave out to some of these edge rushers: Jalen Phillips, Aiden Hutchinson, Trey Hendrickson, Khalil Mack, and Cam Jordan. Mack and Jordan kind of on the waning side of their careers. And I'm looking at Montez Sweat. I'm like, this guy is kind of in the same class as some of these honorable mentions, and I thought that ESPN kind of disrespected Montez Sweat here by not giving him that honorable mention nod. So you compare him to some of the guys on this list, like a rookie Aiden Hutchinson last year, and listen, Hutchinson's going to be a really great player in the league. He had 10 sacks as a rookie. That is absolutely fantastic. But you look at overall, right, the impact that Montez Sweat has both in the passing game as a pass rusher, but also in the run game where he's really good at blowing up runs in the backfield. You see that with 5 more tackles for loss than Hutchinson last year. So although maybe you'd rather go with Aiden Hutchinson, at least for the future, I thought Montez Sweat here is pretty darn comparable to the Lions' second-year edge rusher. And then Jalen Phillips, another younger player here that I'm a big fan of Jalen Phillips. I won't shy away from that, but Sweat had more sacks than Jalen had last year. He had almost the double the amount of tackles for loss. And, I look at Montez Sweat, I look at the impact that he creates for the Commanders defense, particularly as a run defender. And I thought that Fowler should have at least given Montez Sweat an honorable mention here. But let me know what you guys think about Sweat down there in the comments section. I need to know, is Montez Sweat a top 10 edge rusher in the National Football League as it stands right now? Give me a yes or give me a no. Can't wait to see how you're feeling about the Commanders' edge rusher. All right, shifting gears here to free agency rumors, where a couple weeks ago we heard that Kareem Hunt and the Washington Commanders were in contract discussions for him to rejoin up with offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy here in Washington. And, you know, it's definitely been slow, okay? So he still hasn't signed. We've been waiting for the news for weeks now, and nothing's happened. So it's like, what gives here? So you take a look at the Commanders' running back room right now, and it's very solid, okay? Brian Robinson, very solid back, plays with good vision and toughness, really good power back as well at the goal line. And then Antonio Gibson's more of that wide receiving threat. He can play in the slot a little bit. Doesn't run with as good of vision as Brian Robinson does. He's had some issues with that in the past. And then, of course, you draft Chris Rodriguez Jr. out of Kentucky in the 6th round this year, which you have high hopes for. But Kareem Hunt can definitely add an explosive element to your run game that you kind of don't have as it stands right now. So coming up here, I'm going to be telling you why a deal hasn't been made yet and why it could be happening here in a couple of days or weeks. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor at Fanatics, and these guys are offering you guys a fantastic deal on this awesome t-shirt combo, perfect for summer. Okay, you got that burgundy shirt with the Commander's helmet on there, and then the white long sleeve, and I really like the design of this long sleeve. I'm personally a fan of white long sleeve t-shirts during the summer. It doesn't get as hot as some of the colorized t-shirts, but you can go chatsports.com/Commanders combo to let Fanatics know that we sent you. Really do appreciate all the support. All right, so now why hasn't Kareem Hunt signed with the Washington Commanders yet? There's two potential reasons here, and it could be both as well. Number one, Hunt might be asking for more money than the Commanders are willing to dish out. Now, a lot of times with free agents that make it to this far into the offseason without being signed, they will still want to make the same amount of money that they made in their previous spot, and just the value on the market is just not there for them to get that kind of compensation. So he might be asking for a little bit more money if the Commanders are not willing to pay him, or he could be waiting for Dalvin Cook to end up getting signed by somebody else, so he knows kind of a benchmark for his signing coming up here. And Dalvin Cook still hasn't been signed. He's probably asking for a decent amount of compensation. There's been a ton of rumors about him going to the Miami Dolphins, to the New York Jets. There's been a bunch of rumors surrounding Dalvin Cook. And it's also a possibility that he could even end up as a Washington Commander, right? If you're going to consider adding an explosive element like Kareem Hunt, why not consider Dalvin Cook as well, as long as it doesn't eat up too much money. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think Dalvin Cook is going to be coming to the nation's capital because I think he's going to want a ton of money. I think he still views himself as a number one running back, and he wants to get paid that way. So I think Kareem Hunt is probably the more possible solution here. But let me know what you guys want to do with the Commanders' running back room here. If you want to add Kareem Hunt, type KH. If you want to go out and spend a little bit more on Dalvin Cook, go DC. Or if you want to do nothing and you are good with the running back room as it stands right now, give me a DN down there in the comments section. If you're looking for more Commanders content from me, your host, Jack Sperry, on Twitter, you can go to my Commanders specific page on Twitter, at @Sperry_Hogs, where I post daily Commanders content. So if you want some additional stuff outside of the show, you can hit me up there. That's going to be it for me today, Commanders fans. Really do appreciate all the support. And until next time, hail to the Commanders.